Welcome to SARS Tax Practitioner Readiness Program. Module 8, Part 6, Deregistration of a tax type. Learning objective. At the end of this module, you are expected to understand applicable legislation for VAT, PAYE and income tax, who can request a deregistration of a tax type, when will a tax type be deregistered, tax types that may be deregistered, reasons for cancellation or deregistration for VAT, PAYE and income tax, how to cancel or deregister for VAT, PAYE and income tax, and common errors made by taxpayers upon deregistration that causes delays. Applicable legislation, the VAT Act. Section 24 of the VAT Act 81 of 1991 states that a vendor can cease to be liable when the Commissioner is satisfied that the total value of the vendor's taxable supplies in any period of 12 months commencing at the beginning of any tax period of the vendor will not be more than the amount referred to in Section 23(1) and 1A. Vendor will need to submit a request in writing to the Commissioner requesting for deregistration. The vendor will need to inform the Commissioner within 21 business days if the business ceases to trade. The vendor will need in writing to inform the Commissioner the date in which the business ceased to trade. Where the Commissioner is satisfied that the vendor no longer complies with the requirements for registration as contemplated in Section 23(1) and 3, who has failed to furnish the Commissioner with a return reflecting such information as may be required for the purposes of the calculation of tax in terms of Section 14 or 16. The Commissioner may cancel such vendor's registration with effect from the last day of the tax period during which the Commissioner is so satisfied. The Commissioner shall give written notice to the person concerned of his decision to cancel such person's registration in terms of this section, or his refusal to cancel such registration. Applicable legislation, PAYE. Paragraph 15 of the 4th Schedule of the Income Tax Act No. 58 of 1962 states that every person who is registered as an employer shall within 14 business days after ceasing to be an employer notify the Commissioner in writing of the fact of the employer having ceased to be an employer. Applicable legislation for income tax. Section 82 of the Companies Act 71 of 2008 states that dissolution of companies and removal from register, the master file a certificate of winding up of a company in the prescribed form when affairs of the company have been completely wound up. Upon receiving a certificate in terms of subsection 1, the Commissioner must a. record the dissolution of the company in a prescribed manner, and b. remove the company's name from the company's register. In addition to the duties to deregister a company contemplated in subsection 2b, the Commission may otherwise remove a company from the company's register only if a. the company has transferred its registration to a foreign jurisdiction in terms of subsection 5, or has failed to file an annual return in terms of Section 33 for 2 or more years in succession and on demand by the Commission, has failed to give satisfactory reason for the failure to file the required annual returns, or show satisfactory cause for the company to remain registered, or the Commission has determined in prescribed manner that the company appears to have been inactive for at least 7 years and no person has demonstrated a reasonable interest in or reason for its continued existence, or has received a request in the prescribed manner and form and has determined that the company has ceased to carry on business and has no assets, or because of inadequacy of its asset there is no reasonable probability of the company being liquidated. If the Commission deregisters a company as contemplated in subsection 3, any interested person may apply in the prescribed manner and form to the Commission to reinstate the registration of the company. A company may apply to be deregistered upon the transfer of its registration to a foreign jurisdiction if the shareholders have adopted a special resolution approving such an application and transfer of registration, and the company has satisfied the prescribed requirements for doing so. The Minister may prescribe criteria, procedural requirements that must be satisfied by a company before it may be deregistered in terms of subsection 5. Who can request a deregistration of a tax type? An individual taxpayer, an executor of a deceased estate, a curator of an insolvent estate, representative of a company such as the public officer or cooperative, main member of a CC, representative of a government entity, the main trustee for a trust. When will a tax type be deregistered? When a company/CC, trust, cooperative, or any other type of entity is dormant or no longer in operations. When the deregistration was initiated by SARS, when an entity has a duplicate reference number, when a taxpayer who formerly immigrated from South Africa or a non-resident taxpayer who left the Republic has no income assets in the Republic, when a deceased, insolvent, or liquidated estate comes into effect. What tax types may be deregistered? Value-added tax, pay-as-you-earn, skills development levy, or the unemployment insurance fund, and income tax. Reasons for a cancellation or deregistration of VAT. A vendor may apply in writing for a cancellation of a VAT registration where the value of taxable supplies will be less than the compulsory registration threshold of 1 million rand in any consecutive period of 12 months. The Commissioner may cancel a VAT registration where the vendor ceased to carry on an enterprise and will not commence again within the next 12 months. The enterprise never actually commenced or will not commence within the next 12 months. The vendor no longer complies with the requirements of voluntary or compulsory registration. The vendor has failed to furnish a return that is required for the purposes of calculating the VAT, or the vendor was registered under a voluntary registration and has not fixed place or board or business, does not keep proper accounting records, has not opened a bank account in respect of the enterprise, or was previously registered under VAT Act or Sales Tax Act and failed to perform any duty imposed under those acts. Where a vendor has ceased all enterprises, the cancellation normally takes from the last day of the tax period in which the vendor ceased to carry out all enterprises. However, the Commissioner may determine the effective date to be another date. Any of a vendor's separately registered enterprises, division, branches may also be cancelled if the vendor applies in writing, the main registration is cancelled, or it appears to the Commissioner that the duties under the VAT Act or the Tax Administrative Act have not been carried out properly. The effect of the cancellation of a branch registration is that all duties revert to the main registration. So the top tip that we look at is that SARS cannot finalize a cancellation of a registration as a VAT vendor until all outstanding liabilities and obligations in terms of the VAT Act have been resolved or settled. How to cancel or deregister a VAT registration. You will be required to download and complete a VAT 123E for cancellation. And if you are cancelling a separately registered enterprise, you need to download the VAT 123T. The request can be sent to SARS via email, or a virtual appointment can be made using the SARS e-booking system. The vendor will continue to charge VAT on supplies and submit the VAT 201 up until the Commissioner issues a notice of cancellation stating the date on which the cancellation takes effect and the final tax period. In respect of the final tax period, as indicated by the Commissioner, the vendor must declare output tax in Field 1A of the VAT return. Output tax on certain assets on hand at date of ceasing to be an enterprise must be declared together with any other output tax and input tax in the VAT return for the final tax period. Reasons for cancellation or deregistration of PAYE. As an employer, you can cancel a registration for employees tax if none of the employees are liable for payment of normal tax and you are not liable for payment of skills development levy. You have ceased to be an employer or the business, the branch division was sold. How to cancel a deregistration for PAYE. To cancel a registration for employees tax, you can indicate on the final EMP 501 reconciliation that you want to cancel your registration for employees tax and provide a reason for cancellation. Use the cancellation functionality on e-filing or send a written notification on a downloaded and completed EMP 123. You can send the notification form via email to the region where the entity is registered. The email address can also be obtained on the SARS website. To cancel the registration for all businesses, you need to submit the EMP 123 form. To cancel a separately registered branch or division, you need to submit an EMP 123T form. You can access the frequently asked questions on the SARS website and how do I cancel a registration for employees tax. Reasons for cancellation or deregistration for corporate income tax. When closing a business or company, this means it ceases to operate either due to deregistration or liquidation. When a business company deregisters with Companies and Intellectual Properties Commission (CIPC), it implies that the business is no longer registered and has no legal standing since it's not doing any business nor has assets or liability. When the business undergoes voluntary or compulsory liquidation, also known as winding up, it involves a process of selling all assets, paying off creditors, issuing any remaining assets to the main or parent company, and then simply closing the business. Liquidation or winding up of a business may happen when a business is unable to pay off its debt as a result of a legal court process, by application of creditors, voluntary, that means it's applied by the members of the closed corporation, when the business owner decides to do something different or retires. How to cancel or deregister income tax. Once a business or company receives confirmation from CIPC that they have been deregistered, the registered representative should make an appointment with SARS to deregister the tax type. Common errors made by taxpayers upon deregistration that causes delays. On the VAT deregistration, the VAT 123 is not fully completed with applicable dates of suspension and declarations not signed. PAY deregistration, the EMP 123 is also not fully complete with the applicable dates of suspension and declaration not signed. Requests for all tax types deregistrations coming through the email channel with no power of attorney as well as a copy of the representative person. Company income tax deregistration, there's no final deregistration or AR final deregistration documents from CIPC attached. When it comes to personal income tax, that's your non-residence codings for individuals, no confirmation of the date the person left South Africa, such as the copy of the passport. You should be now proficient in understanding the legislation and the processes that will allow you to deregister a specific tax type. Thank you.